Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean. I am Joe. He is Sean, and we are finally here this week. It's been a busy week for both of us, Sean, but episode 71. Hello.
It's just really good right now because normally when I'm talking to you, it's a Tuesday, and that's the best part of my Tuesday is talking to you. But then everything else about a Tuesday is terrible because I realize it's a Tuesday, and so now the fact that we're here on a Thursday. It's just this warm feeling. Our listeners are going to be hearing us when facing the weekend, and it just feels good.
Yes. So officially, welcome to Weekend Eve to all of you that are watching and all of you that will be listening as soon as this is posted. We're happy to have you. We have some fun stuff to talk about, and I think we should dive right in because a trailer for what apparently is going to rival the Bible in popularity came out this week, and I think we need to talk about it. What do you think?
Well, it's rivaled the Bible in terms of how it's consistently theorized, and maybe possibly woefully misinterpreted, and like several different books and universes, like the Matthew universe, the Mark universe. Let's see what this trailer looks like.
Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe. Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap. You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way!
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe. You're not gonna take this away from me.
Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone.
What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them. December 17th, exclusively at movie theaters. Tickets on sale November 29th. Spider-Man.
I have a question.
I have way more than just one, but go for it.
My first question is, and I don't know why I didn't think about this before, and maybe it's just because it is Thursday and we're discussing this later in the week and we're both tired from work. What J. Jonah Jameson, he's from the Raimi universe.
Mm-hmm.
He was in No Way Home. No, I mean, Far From Home. I get them all confused.
Oh, yeah.
Far From Home. How did he get to Far From Home if he's from the Raimi universe?
I mean, this is just, yeah. No, I think it's just like I mean, if you think about it, the Electros that we're dealing with are both being played by Jamie Foxx, but they don't look like they're going to be the same Electros. So I think these are, several universe J. Jonah Jamesons. So there's still the cool J. Jonah Jameson in the Raimi universe, but this is the one where that was J.K. Simmons and that J.K. Simmons. Yep, that was J.K. Simmons, but that was definitely a shot of him in Justice League. Because that was
that's what I thought the first time I saw it too.
The entire time, people have been like showing like pictures of every little bit of this frame of this trailer, and every time I look at that one, I'm like, oh yeah, J.K. Simmons of the Justice League, Commissioner Gordon, and then it's like, oh wait, no, this is the.
So I guess this is like the Alex Jones version of J. Jonah Jameson then, and
that's his whole thing. Because he's bald. I mean, like, because technically J. Jonah Jameson had hair in the Raimi one, and in this one he was just straight up bald on, and he was just online. So it's a different variant, if you will, if we're gonna go there. Yeah, we're doing it all. Let's get into it.
So, Sean, you and I were both critical of the first trailer that came out for Spider-Man No Way Home. And I think we both continue to agree that this is a heavy lift of a movie and there's a lot that it has to accomplish. What are your thoughts on this trailer in general?
I want to be fun. I want to get joy from things. This was just it didn't like upset me or anything like that, but it just is something where it's like, especially it just felt like this lukewarm apple pie that I'm like, okay, I will enjoy this. I will like this. I enjoyed what I saw, but it wasn't anything that got me really excited. And maybe it's because the only Spider-Man villain that I thought was really cool, I mean, Green Goblin kind of, but that's just Willem Dafoe in a sound box at this point. We do not know if that dude is going to be hanging out there like that. That was just like complete CGI. But or Thomas Hayden Church in this situation. But I just get worried when I see all of them fighting on scaffolding, and I'm like, I remember when a lot of villains fought on scaffolding, and it was Spider-Man 3, and I'm I'm scared about that. The multi-universe situation is starting to get to me. I listen to a lot of podcasts that like break this all down with these multi-universes. I know we're already getting them in Loki, and I did love Loki, but like with this, it just feels like, oh, we're getting a lot, and we're getting a lot, maybe not to progress a story, but to enjoy fan service. And that's fine, by the way. I'm not gonna poo-poo fan service. Truly, I'm not. Like, I mean, granted, showing it in the trailer of MJ almost falling, and then everybody showing all three of them, I was like, okay, yeah, no, you did it too. We get it. It's like I get it. There's some of that there, and it's gonna be fun. I will say one thing. I am praying very hard that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire turn out to just not be in this movie.
Do not say that.
It would be the ultimate theaters. No. I would like them, but just for the reaction, theaters would burn to the ground. Like people, it would just be insane. The reaction would be insane. Only obviously, it would be it's just that now it's just become such a commonplace where it's like Jon Snow is coming back to life. It's like okay, cool. Right. Like, and it's just sort of like all the air has been taken out of it. I mean, there have been people like already saying the over-edited trailer where like the Lizard King or whatever he is like gets punched by nobody. So definitely like something got like photoshopped, and it's probably one of the Spider-Men. Even though they Brazil could just trailer. Yeah, but even though they could just have like a Spider-Man there, and people like would just be like, okay, a Spider-Man did that. I don't know. It's this is gonna be. I mean, I'm interested in it. I'm also worried about, and we're gonna talk about this one later, but the fact that this was going to take place after the Doctor Strange second movie, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and then now is taking place beforehand, therefore triggering a lot of reshoots, causing them to have to shoot while the movie's, right while the movie's being shot. This was a lot from the Holland piece.
Wait, is that accurate that it was supposed to come out after?
I got Strange? That from a few sources. I don't know how accurate it is, but like I heard that from a few sources, and so. Okay. I don't know how like truly accurate that is. I figured you'd know better than me. So I was,
I'm trying to recall, and I'm not looking it up right now because it would take me a little while to find it. But it's been scheduled for December for quite a while now. And Doctor Strange has always been at least in March of next year. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but who knows? I mean, if you're the Tom Holland piece, if it's the one that I think you're referring to, he talks a little bit about how they were writing the third act, like while they were on set, and they were changing things, which never bodes well and makes me nervous. We also are going to talk about what's going on with Doctor Strange in a little bit. So it does seem like there's a lot of moving targets. I think my whole thing here is, number one, I actually really like the trailer. This one got me excited. The last one did not at all. I still think it's a very overhyped movie. I think it's cool what they're doing, but I think that it's very overhyped, and it's really strange to me how this one took off so much when the Homecoming and Far From Home reception was not like this. Like all of a sudden they're like, well, it's going to be great because everyone had the idea that Toby and Andrew were coming back. I am 110% sure that they are in this movie.
Same. I should reckon also same, but I just want chaos.
Yeah, I do. I keep throwing like on comments on TikTok and stuff with when people are posting about it. I'm like, what if it's not like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man that's punching Lizard? What if it's Miles Morales because he can go invisible? And Tom Holland just made a comment about how they should make a Miles Morales movie, so maybe they're going to go that route. Like, I also realized in watching this that the first 3 times I watched it, I missed a few things. One being, I made a reference to the fact that there is the Captain America shield on top of the Statue of Liberty at one point, and then later on it's not. And I took that as 2 different universes that we were looking at. I don't think that's the case now after watching that, because they do show it falling off the scaffolding, I'm assuming. So I was incorrect there. And then people dragged me for this video I reposted. Did you see this?
Keep in mind, wait. I was incorrect there. I want to like straighten this out right away. Nobody is correct or incorrect right now.
It was a poor observation.
I guess, but still I'm defending you on this. It's a trailer. We know nothing.
I think I saw Mephisto, so I'm standing by that one. And then also, but the other one was this guy posted a video showing. It wasn't a doctored clip, but it was a partial clip of Doctor Strange when he's trying to when he has Spider-Man up there and he's trying to stop him from taking whatever that box is. And you see another web grabbing his foot. Originally, when I first saw that without seeing the trailer, I was like, oh my God, that guy's right. There's definitely another Spider-Man shooting in through a portal, like grabbing him, but it's actually him, Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, shooting the web, and Doctor Strange using the portal to redirect it at him from behind, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's actually fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool when I saw it again. Here's what I'm hoping. You brought up a really good point with the multiverse. It is going. The MCU is already difficult to follow. It is all over the place. I like that they're exploring this idea of the multiverse and really blowing things open. But then they have to let it settle at some point. So I'm hopeful that by mid next year, maybe even by the time we get to like Black Panther 2 at the end of next year, and I'm trying to think of some of the other stuff coming down the road, that we settle a little bit into unique universes. So if we're going to spend time in space, or we're going to be in this universe with this crew, then we know that that's happening. And if we're going to be in this universe with the normal crew that we're used to, then that's happening, and that's great. They can play together in the same sandbox in Avengers level movies, but let's not do it every damn movie, because you're gonna run out of steam. So I do think that they need to level things off at some point, and that seems to be what they're trying to do with Doctor Strange, where it's going to be like, that's the madness, that's the craziness that is hopefully going to rectify whatever happens in this, to steal from what you were saying earlier about another movie we were talking about offline, Godfather-esque Spider-Man that we're getting. Hopefully that all rectifies that. So they have a big task ahead of them, and it doesn't surprise me that they're rewriting stuff. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a couple minutes when we get to some of our stories.
It's so funny just to imagine that while this is being released, like, you know, on a Friday, you'll probably grab a screener. I'll probably see it on a Thursday, and you know, but meanwhile, there'll be an episode of Hawkeye that comes out where this like Archer is just trying to get home to his family for Christmas. Meanwhile, it's like, oh, the world's ending in a way that it has never have before, like, because like all of reality and balance is holding in on itself. But Hawkeye's just, you know, like hanging out with Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah,
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop properly. And to switch gears real quick to that trailer, people didn't clock the fact that he's deaf in that. Did you catch that?
Wait,
he literally says at one point, like, I can't hear you in the clip. It's not the full trailer. It's the clip that they showed during Disney Plus Day. He's saying,
I didn't
can't
even
hear
see that actually.
Yeah, and I watched it again, and it makes sense because she starts doing she's not doing actual sign language, so I'm not trying to be rude with my hand movements, but she's doing wild hand movements. So there's definitely something going on there. But anyway, Spider-Man should be interesting. We'll dive back into MCU biz in a few minutes. But we have another trailer that just dropped today that I think we need to check out because this one has some Oscar buzz around it, which is shocking to me.
I will say not shocking, but we'll get to it after. But
okay, well, you are Mr. Oscar man.
I'll give a little bit of context with it. But
all right, so of course we're talking about Guillermo del Toro's Nightmare Alley. Let's watch.
You don't fool people, Stan. They fool themselves.
Nightmare Alley, only in theaters December 17th. Final.
And there's the trailer. No kidding.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, no, thank God. The trailer before the trailer. I didn't know what trailer I was watching when I was on YouTube. God damn it. Wait, it starts now, Joe.
I will ask you simple questions. You will answer in short sentences only what you believe to be absolute truth.
Absolute truth. I can do that.
Now, brief as you can, what is your name?
Stanton Carlisle.
Are you a true medium?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Carlisle,
Doctor, how about that?
please lay down.
Can you read minds?
Yes, I can. Under the right circumstances.
Keep your answers brief.
What do I want?
To be found out, same as everybody else.
Are you in contact with the beyond?
Well, we've had our share of snake charmers in the past. We deal with them.
You don't fool people, Stan. They fool themselves.
I've given you a fortune. It's time that you delivered.
When does it end? I want to know.
If you displease the right people, the world closes in on you very, very fast.
I don't think I get it.
No, I definitely don't. And that's what I like about it. Because guess what we did? We just saw, technically, two, in the past couple of months, we've seen 2 3-minute Spider-Man trailers that have showed us quite a lot, except for the 2 previous actors. And then we have also, between that, and so those have been able to be screenshotted and theorized and stuff like that. I truly don't exactly know what this is about, except that, Bradley Cooper has powers, and either they think he's insane or they're trying to kill him now. And, or Willem Dafoe is trying to figure out, is he man or is he beast from the first teaser? I will say that the first reactions to this are coming out, I think, this week. And so it will be interesting whether this actually is going to get some Oscar buzz push. But the reason why it's getting it right now is this is Del Toro coming right off of, not right off of, excuse me, but his next film after Shape of Water. And so everyone's going to be looking towards it. And they're going to be looking. So immediately it's on lists. It just goes on prospective Oscar buzz lists immediately. In terms of the actors and actresses, usually when there's a lineup like that, a little bit tough to get on any sort of list there. But I would say, some of the big ones, possibly Bradley Cooper most likely won't get nominated for Licorice Pizza anymore. And that's because apparently he is in kind of close to 2 minutes of that movie. So
wow.
Yeah, it's everyone knew it was a short, but maybe it's too short to be impactful now, in other words. So everyone says, hey, will Cooper...
Don Cheadle would like a word.
Exactly. Well, exactly. Oh God, I forgot. Yeah, guest appearance. Bradley Cooper gets guest appearance in Licorice Pizza. And then you have Richard Jenkins, who everyone said for The Humans he would get it, but Humans is getting weird reactions to it, so maybe people will nominate Richard Jenkins for this. Best Supporting Actor, once again, absolute shit show this year. Complete shit show. And then, would Cooper go in for lead actor? Probably not. That's starting to get packed. I don't think lead actor is going to be as open as we thought it was. I got to really look into it again, but it doesn't look great. So right now, Nightmare Alley, maybe an actor, maybe a bunch of technicals, and even a Del Toro sounds tough. Boy, but for a director, it sounds tough. But all of them are definitely in the lower top 10, I'd say.
Yeah. I got to be honest. The trailer doesn't really do anything for me. I mean, I'll see it. I'm interested. It struck right away. I'm like, oh, this is all in his head. That was my initial reaction. So we'll see, whatever. But I don't know. I'm hopeful that it is more of an interesting film than it's coming across as. It's interesting to me that it's getting such buzz ahead of time. It does have a great cast. Willem Dafoe's in everything right now, by the way.
He doesn't stop working.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
But I want to get a character. They released the character posters, and one of them was the David Strathairn character poster. And I think I need to get a gigantic David Strathairn character poster and just put it in the wall behind me and stuff like that.
All right. Well, that's your wedding gift.
Thank you.
Settled. Add it to the registry. Sam will be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh god.
On the note of Licorice Pizza, I've seen some reactions that haven't been very positive about it. So
really,
that should be
I'm hearing the opposite.
Are you really?
So what I'm hearing, this is actually the move that I'm hearing, is that this is Paul Thomas Anderson's most accessible movie.
Interesting.
And so that could upset typical Paul Thomas Anderson fans.
Yeah.
But bring everyone there. But critical response I thought was Rotten Tomatoes is bullshit, but it was around 100%. I mean, it probably dipped now, but
yeah, I haven't looked at Rotten Tomatoes. I was just looking at some reactions from people that I follow who I know have seen it, and I don't know. Interesting. So let's dive into the news of this week and talk about movies that are not on the horizon.
Before we talk about the news, should we talk about what we've seen?
We should.
Yes.
I skipped over that on our outline.
That's because I didn't write anything. That was my bad. So I'll just figure out what to put.
Well, while you're figuring out what to put, I'll dive into mine. First and foremost, let's talk about Tick, Tick, Boom. Tick, Tick, Boom comes out tomorrow on Netflix. It came out last week in select theaters. Tick, Tick, Boom stars Andrew Garfield and follows the story of Jonathan Larson, who went on to write Rent. This is a musical lover's wet dream. If you are a musical theater lover, you are going to love this movie. I loved it. It really was very moving at times, and Garfield is absolutely phenomenal in it. The fact that he can sing is one of the best kept secrets of anyone's career to me. It is a very I'm trying to think of. I feel like what I'm about to say is a negative, and I don't want it to come across as a negative because to me it's not. I don't know that it's accessible for the people that love In the Heights or love The Greatest Showman or some of the more commercially popular musicals, because this is really a deep dive into the process of making a musical.
I heard it's very inside baseball, basically, is the term I keep on hearing. Yeah.
It is. But it's very intriguing and it never lets up. The way that it's filmed, and this is Lin-Manuel Miranda's first feature, it's very well done. And it's impressively done. So it balances a lot of different times in terms of how, not a lot of different times. The structure is very not even unique. I haven't written the review yet, as you can tell. So I'm still gathering my thoughts while I'm talking.
I barely say the right thing after I've written the review, so you're good.
It's a familiar structure, but it's a tough one to deliver in a way that isn't convoluted and frustrating to the viewer. And I think that Lin-Manuel Miranda really delivers it well, and utilizes the proper times recognizes the proper times to cut scenes, to jump back and forth, to move on, and doesn't really dwell on anything far too long. But also can hit you with that emotional punch when you're least expecting it. And it definitely happens. I was crying for about 45 minutes. But I really enjoyed that movie, and I can't wait for people to see it. I'm very impressed with Andrew Garfield.
Well,
and Vanessa Hudgens.
I heard she's great. And well, I've heard Andrew
She's
Garfield right
incredible
now.
in it.
Yeah.
I
Go for it.
didn't think it was her.
I have to say, Andrew Garfield, if we're talking Oscar stuff right now, like, right, he's kind of a like pretty solid lock for the best actor race. And so that's like some of the people right there. So it's like really, I'm so excited to see this tomorrow or Saturday. We're staying in this weekend because we don't want to do
Nice.
anything. Yeah. So we'll be
Guys
watching
have
all the movies.
Some busy times coming up. But I have a question in terms of Oscars. So Andrew is in 2 movies that are getting Oscar buzz and for different reasons. Tick Tick Boom for his performance, but also, I mean, people had thrown his performance in The Eyes of Tammy Faye up there because of just basically his counter to Jessica Chastain in that movie. Understanding that you get nominated for one film and that one performance, if you're an Oscar voter, do you consider the strength of other performances they had that year, or is it just solely based on that?
Some people could. Some people definitely could. I could absolutely see that happening, and that happens a lot. And this might be the situation there where, Eyes of Tammy Faye didn't really do it. He's really good. He's like pretty solid. And then they see Tick Tick Boom. They're kind of blown away. And then they remember, well, this guy's having a year right now. Other people might say, well, I don't really want to like vote for him for, Eyes of Tammy Faye, but I do want to vote for him for something. I want him to, he's having a great year. So let's give him something. And that's Tick Tick Boom. Now, those are the gross ones where it's like, it doesn't seem like he really earns that nomination spot. But hey, I mean, however you get to that nomination spot, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Best guest star or best supporting actor in Spider-Man No Way Home is what I am foreseeing for him in the future.
It technically will qualify. It is before the end of the year.
The other one I want to touch on real quick and very, very quickly because it doesn't deserve any time is Home Sweet Home Alone that hit Disney Plus. Home Sweet Home Alone is an abomination. It is emotionless. It is humorless, and it makes you hate the characters instead of loving the characters. It is not clever. It is not necessary. And it is, quite honestly, one of the worst movies of the year for me. Sean, what do you got?
I forgot to ask one other thing because he holds a special place in my heart. In Tick Tick Boom, how does Robin De Jesus do?
He's phenomenal. He's very good.
God, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Like just after Boys in the Band, I was just like, this guy's amazing.
All the performances are really good in this. We'll talk afterwards because it's special.
Gonna gush later. So I saw quite a few movies, but I'm just gonna focus on these 2. And one of them is we keep on talking Oscars today. I don't know what it is, but this is the Oscar frontrunner for Best Picture right now with really no second place in sight. And this is Belfast.
Yeah.
And Belfast was just an absolute lovely movie. I mean,
isn't it?
It's so funny because it's one of these movies where, it won't be my number 1 movie this year. And like, I hope maybe it'll be in my top 10. It might be even lower in my top 10, but the way this was constructed was so pretty like, damn flawless that it deserves the accreditation. And if it does get Best Picture this year, it deserves that. It deserves to be like listed there. The critiques that people have of like the story isn't cohesive or it's too slice of life are legit critiques, but it's because this is through the eyes of a kid that's in the middle of the troubles in Ireland. And that's wonderful because it's one of those things where they could have done a drama about how awful it was to be there at that time. But instead, through the perspective of the kid, you see sometimes the husband and wife are arguing about some stuff. Sometimes there's like some horrible things going on in the streets. But most of the time, I want to sit next to the cute girl in class, or I want to go to the movies, or I want to play in the streets. But like filmed in the perspectives where you see like your parents as these towering figures where maybe they actually have quite a lot more flaws than we think. Everything about Belfast is great. I hope it's not one of those ones where, it starts to not even lose momentum, but starts to get a backlash and people start to dislike it only because it's so liked. It doesn't deserve that sort of. I didn't even talk about the performances. All of them amazing. Jude Hill, I'm hoping child performance is solid there, and that keeps going. I mean, Jamie Dornan, who I'd never say great performance, but great performance from him.
Great performance.
Like the two grandparents, Kieran Hines and Judi Dench, especially Kieran Hines, who like is just just sounds like anybody's grandpa who just like makes up crap when he like gives advice. He's like working on a saddle and he just starts saying weird crap. Like he's like, oh, the moon's made of cheese, and then he keeps like going back. I mean, I talked about Judi Dench. She's exceptional. She has like, one like huge emotional moment at the end. And then Katarina Balfour is like just another one where, I'll give her some credit because, I only have seen clips of Outlander because Sam watches it religiously. But I just loved how like passionate she was in that. So Belfast is one you should absolutely see. Oh my God.
I think she's going to be up for, because I believe they're entering her in supporting. If I remember correctly from what I was seeing earlier, but I think that she's going to, in my opinion, she'll make the cut of the 5.
I think so too. Right now, like they're talking about Katarina. They're talking about, this is nuts, but because Best Supporting Actor is kind of crazy, Jamie and Kieran being in there, which
I saw that.
Never thought in a million years, but it might actually happen. I think if you're going to pick between one of those two, sorry, Jamie, you were lovely, but
I agree.
Kieran's kind of a legendary actor. I think you put him in there. Judi Dench, when she's in movies that aren't Artemis Fowl, she gets nominated for Oscars, and she's in a movie that's like surrounded by Oscars right now. There's a chance she could like actually sneak it. To have all 4 people though, that sounds like it's absolutely ridiculous, but I don't know at this point. It could happen. I got to talk about this. Then I'm going to bring it down a little bit with this documentary on Showtime called Attica. Which is also, I'm just going to keep talking about the Oscars, is also kind of like looked upon as maybe like a 4th spot for best documentary. Attica is something that Al Pacino shouted in Dog Day Afternoon because he was referencing a prison riot where, many people were killed in that prison riot, prisoners, of course. That's all I knew about it. In this documentary, it's very informative. You get survivors' testimony, you get family of those who were lost testimony in the talking heads, and they work this through like a narrative picture with a lot of footage, an alarming amount of footage that I'd never seen before, and then some footage that I never want to see again, and photographs that I never want to see again. I didn't realize how bad this went at the end of this whole situation. And, I won't say anything. You could obviously read history books, but it is alarming where there's just unchecked aggression from those in power. And, the fact that we still don't have like a prison reform type of situation, and these things can sort of happen. We're there. And, I get it. Some people are like, they're prisoners. Why should they be treated like humans? Well, because they're humans. And that's how we have to like work on this. And it's one of those like, and they make it complicated too. They don't make it easy. This is not a bleeding heart, kind of like documentary. They tell the documentary the way it is, but they really do make you feel at certain points. There's the moments where, nothing can be done. So the lawyers start to leave, and the people that were negotiating the prisoners start to leave. And they're like, they all like kind of like they shake their hands and like good luck and stuff like that. One of the people in it, by the way, is Mark Rylance's character in Trial of Chicago 7, Kunstler.
Oh, wow.
And it was when you saw him, I'm like, wow, props to them in Trial of Chicago 7. He looks just like Rylance. Nuts. But, so he tries to negotiate. And so then there's this moment where the lawyers are gone, everything's gone, and it's just the prisoners, and exactly what's going to happen next. And I remember watching that moment, and there was just the deepest pit in my stomach, which I don't actually get from documentaries that often. It's on Showtime right now. It really should. It's, there's better documentaries this year that I really love that are going to get nominated for Oscars and probably win. But I really did like this one. I would love to see this one on the list.
I haven't heard of this one, and being so like in the know with movies as you are, I'm surprised. So that worries me a little bit for its potential down the road, especially on Showtime, which I kind of view as like a lesser paid channel.
Well, it's weird. It's like Showtime. It almost feels like this shouldn't qualify because it should be a TV documentary or something like that. But it does actually qualify for the Oscars, which the same as isn't The Humans technically on Showtime?
It is premiering at Showtime. Yes. All on Showtime. That is true. I forgot about that.
What's going on? Why is this happening?
Why is Showtime all of a sudden like flexing the pocketbook?
Get Showtime out of here. Get Showtime. You reinvigorated Dexter. Go away. I actually like it though, but get out of here. Oh God, Showtime.
Oh man. All right. Well, listen, there's a lot of stuff coming out because as you have heard us talk about tonight, it's Oscars season. Well, not really Oscars season, but it's Oscar season in terms of the movies that are being released and the screenings that are out there and what we have coming in the coming months. It is going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty good Oscar year, actually, given a lot of the quality that I've been seeing recently.
Really good Oscar year. Yeah. And it's like, it's weird that the supporting like performance categories are just so off because everything else is packed to the brim. Like, I mean, just truly, there's no way we can get around it, but we'll see.
It's crazy. All right, let's dive into our news. We have some news to talk about that I think is going to be pretty fascinating. One of the big topics that we're going to talk about is some delays with films and some issues happening with films, but then some interesting castings that I want to get your opinion on because we haven't talked about them. But first and foremost, let's talk about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This movie seems to be in a little bit of trouble, in my opinion. There have been recent reports of reshoots on the film, which are nothing new. Movies have always had reshoots. They used to be sort of like the thing that no one wanted to see out of a film. It usually said or it signified that there was signaled trouble with the project. But what we're seeing with this, based on a Hollywood Reporter report, is that Sam Raimi's film is going back to Los Angeles for what they call significant reshoots, as well as additional photography from now through the end of the year, 6 days a week, which is that's like a movie. Like you can film an entire movie in that time.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, this is literally a movie. Like this is a straight up movie. Like, oh God.
It's insane to me. And they've been filming for quite a bit. So, I understand that there's a lot of things that change when it comes to building a universe like this. And that's what I'm chalking it up to. That there's probably, some creative decisions that have been altered that maybe will be better reflected in the reshoots or additional photography. But remember, too, that this is a movie that originally was going to be directed by Scott Derrickson. Mm-hmm. And he left in January of 2020. And then when Raimi came on, he and his writer pretty much reworked the entire movie and rewrote the entire movie. And then it started filming. So like what we're seeing, they're heading back right now after principal photography and principal production or whatever was already completed. They're going back in such a short time. This is really weird to me. So I don't know. It's already been delayed. I think that's just because of, the general landscape of Marvel movies and stuff. But this worries me a little bit about the Doctor Strange film.
Could this genuinely be because of, I know I was like talking about crazy like movements around like Spider-Man stuff, and I truly can't remember where I got the sources, so I'm backing off them. But could this be now because they were rewriting the ending of Spider-Man No Way Home that they had to like, I was about to use the word tweak for the Doctor Strange movie, but this is not tweak, this is twack.
It could be. It ultimately could be. I really don't know. There's nothing that's really public that would lead me to point one way or the other in terms of what is causing this. Maybe they want to introduce another character. Maybe they want to heighten another character. Maybe they want to rework where it leaves off. Maybe it wasn't working. I don't even know if they showed any footage to test audiences. I doubt it at this point. But I don't know if something wasn't working when they were looking at it, so they decided to go back. But I mean, this is a significant amount of time. This isn't a 2-week reshoot. This isn't just a few days a week. This is the majority of the week through the end of the year. That is insane.
It's, like this shows, well, I'm going to put a positive on it where they're showing great care and stuff. Like, I'm trying to, I just like got a Spider-Man trailer and I was all mopey because I'm tired because it's a Thursday. I'm like, man, Spider-Man's coming and there's going to be 8 of them and I'm sad. Like, look,
spiders.
Oh, spiders. Wait, no, you got to do it like Blink-182. Spiders. Sorry. I'm so
everywhere. On that note, since you're saying spiders, it just reminded me, and I didn't bring this up earlier, but who was it that it was Jamie Foxx that shared a clip or something, and it said like electric or some nod to his character, and the hashtag was chasing spiders. And I was just like, oh, okay, come on.
Feige took one of his kids.
Speaking of, I also forgot to bring this up, but we're talking about Marvel, so this is okay. One of my favorite things in the past 2 weeks was that, like last week, Feige was like, yo, guys, everyone calm down. Let's not like heighten expectations too much. It's getting a little crazy. You'll be a little, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And then the other night at that event that they did at a Regal in LA where Tom Holland was there to introduce the trailer to fans or whatever, Tom Holland was like, this is the best movie that has ever been done in the superhero genre. They achieved the impossible. It's going to blow your minds. There's stuff you don't even know.
There's stuff you don't even know. In this trailer, you're going to be seeing some things get punched.
It's insane to me.
We're in nutty times. Let's talk about Star Wars, though.
We are in nutty times. And speaking of Disney having some challenges with some of their properties, Star Wars is not really going too well. So hot on the heels of, what's her name? Kathleen Kennedy apparently having her contract renewed at Lucasfilm for 5 years. It looks like 2 movies are in trouble at Star Wars headquarters. First and foremost is that Patty Jenkins' Star Wars movie has been delayed indefinitely. What we first heard was that there were scheduling conflicts, but there is a blog, or a newsletter issued by an insider, Matthew Baloney, who used to be the Hollywood Reporter editor. And he recently reported that there's tensions between Jenkins and the studio caused by creative differences, the famous quote unquote creative differences. It's like if you're a sports fan, like a hockey fan, it's a lower body injury or an upper body injury.
Oh yeah, lower body or upper body. It's like a hole in your lung, but it's like an upper body injury.
Yeah. So Star Wars Rogue Squadron seems to have a hole in the lung, and basically they're saying that it's something to do with the film script. If this sounds familiar to you, every one of the Star Wars projects since they reintroduced the trilogy have had issues with the script, including Rogue One. That was, I think, the most notable one that they rework like the third act or something.
Well, they not reshot it completely. They didn't go 6 days a week, but there's stuff in the trailer that was not in the final moments of the movie, which is like kind of a nutty situation. And that's why, Tony Gilroy stayed on, but yeah. We're going to go through
which I'll be discussing later.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot. Like if we look at every single one of like the filmmakers with their relationship with their movie, it's not great.
It's not at all. And, so we have that going on with Rogue Squadron. One of my favorite quotes is that in that Baloney piece is that Baloney is that
you got to use the full name. Otherwise it doesn't work. It's like that Baloney piece.
Matthew Baloney's piece, he says that Jenkins didn't want to dick around because she has other projects in line, and she basically kind of the way that it reads is that she kind of was just like, fuck it, like I'm not sticking around anymore to deal with this bullshit. I have other stuff I'm working on. I'm ready to go fuck up Wonder Woman 3. I'm kidding. I'm ready to go over to Wonder Woman 3. But he went on to say that it's a quote unquote laughably recurring problem at Lucasfilm, and that agents have said that top filmmakers are often keen to sign on for the movie or for a movie within the franchise, but find themselves hampered by issues of quote unquote micromanagement and plot point by committee processes, which is not good. What we also need to discuss is that there are 2 other issues going on in the Star Wars world. One is that if you remember, the Game of Thrones showrunners were going to bring on a trilogy. They were going to bring in a new trilogy of some sort, and they bailed. They're no longer involved. And then Rian Johnson, after his much maligned movie, like the most divisive of those 3, I would say, for how they handled it. My favorite, by the way.
Unfairly maligned, I would believe. Yeah,
I would agree with that. He was working on another trilogy, and apparently that's been shelved.
Yeah.
So there is nothing on the docket right now outside of Disney Plus properties or projects for Lucasfilm and Star Wars.
We're watching Star Wars on TV then. Like we're watching Star Wars on TV for the next indefinitely, at this point.
Yeah. Rogue Squadron was December 2023, and that was the next one, and that's shelved.
And so that wasn't even going to happen. So we have not, let's see, when was the last one? It was Rise of Skywalker, which was, I think, in 2019, if I'm being right there. So we would have not seen one in about 4 years. And so we wouldn't have seen one then. And now officially we're not getting anything. Now, I look at this as it's a treatment of directors or their inability to talk with directors. I mean, I truly don't know what this is anymore. I mean, Rian Johnson, they dropped the ball on many pursuits. This is how I look at Last Jedi, and this is how, because like many of my friends do not like Last Jedi, so this is how we like make our piece together. Is that it was an exceptional film that did not belong within a trilogy. Like, because you killed the big bad. Like, it's just like that didn't really. I mean, it was awesome in its own movie.
Who never was very well resolved. To this day, pisses me off, was never very well resolved.
But it was like just this really cool move, but it was something that's like, that's better in its own movie. Like, not a part of the Big Nine trilogy. But what happened is Rian Johnson has said this in several interviews. He said, nobody gave me any sort of blueprints, like any Marvel blueprints to say like, hey, this guy has to stay alive. You have to introduce this person. The story has to end here so that the next person could pick it up there. It's interesting that even then there was the Colin Trevorrow project for episode 9, where we read that script, and that was an amazing script. That healed the division. Truly, it healed the division that Last Jedi caused.
Absolutely.
And then they just crapped that out and they said, Abrams, fix this and make the fans happy, which no fans were happy then because we don't know what we want. Because if you feed me chocolate cake every day, I'm going to get sick. And then you then you have Lord and Miller, that wanted to make their own movie, and it was pretty solid the whole way through. And for the most part, it was Lord and Miller, but there was a few edits that only like Ron Howard, like that they brought on Ron Howard to like, I don't know, hit the edit button 6 times. Like, I mean, with all respect to Ron Howard, you didn't direct that movie at all, dude. Like, I just wonder with all of these like weird situations, the Tony Gilroy situation we talk about. Now we've got Patty Jenkins, like they're just like messing with her, so she's out. Rian Johnson said like, all right, I don't know who's wrong here with Rian Johnson. I don't know if he was just like, what, I'm out, or if the Star Wars people like, Kathleen Kennedy and stuff like that were, messing with him or saying like, okay, now we're going to control you after what happened with The Last Jedi. And he's like, all right, I'm out. I think you have to, Marvel has figured out this way to bring creative control with something, but also like keep it within what a franchise should be. Granted, that hasn't always happened, by the way. There have been examples of that very much not happening, but for the most part, something like Marvel is really good at it. And now we just have to look at, was Marvel just like this miracle that happened? And, granted, it was with a lot of hard work. It was with a lot of smarts. It was with a lot of brain power. But was it something that really, I don't know. I wonder if that was just something miraculous or just something that was like stitched together by duct tape as they landed the plane after Endgame. And they were just like, okay, let's just open up universes and just call it a day.
But it also was a brand new thing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Marvel's been around, but in terms of movies and stuff, what they did was really just start from the beginning with building this universe that they've established. Whereas bringing in the final trilogy of Star Wars, they had to go back to what was done in the 2000s as well as what was done the early 2000s. 1999 was that when it started? When was the first episode 1? I think it was it 97 or 99?
99, yeah.
So, and then of course what happened in the 70s, starting in the 70s. So they had a lot to bridge. Here's my thing, looking at it from an outside perspective and not being in the know, obviously, with any of this. How do you renew Kathleen Kennedy for 5 years when she can't get a plan in place for these films, has to continue to delay? There's all these reports of issues with projects that you've released in the past. Think about Marvel in terms of even the projects that didn't do too well. They didn't just move on from them, be like, we're done. Like thinking Solo. Like Solo has a pretty good following actually, and arguably so there's people that really want a Solo too. Probably not very huge. I mean, I enjoyed that movie.
I thought it was okay.
But it's not just, you don't just cut and run. Marvel at least doesn't cut and run. Marvel takes their stuff and like reworks them into other projects. The Hulk being a prime example. The Hulk, they had some trouble with its own films. They were able to work it into other projects. Hulk has become very successful in those larger films. Even think of Ragnarok. I mean, Hulk is great in that. But I guess all that to say, going back to it, how do you renew someone for 5 years when they're reportedly really ruining relationships with some of the top filmmakers in the industry right now? I don't get it.
I'm not even kidding. Bob Iger needs to come back.
I 1000% agree.
It's unbelievable because this is by the other Bob. I'm calling him the other Bob. He doesn't even deserve his last name. I can't remember it as good because Iger is easier to remember. But it's unbelievable how right now. You know what? I'm gonna watch it on Disney Plus. I'm gonna watch the cool TV stuff because I like the TV stuff. But I'm done like focusing on Star Wars as movies. I mean, let's think about after the prequels. We all said we were done with Star Wars, thinking about movies, and then all of a sudden Abrams showed up. There was time to heal. Then all of a sudden there was just like a whole bunch of stuff that we still loved, and now it got a little bit divisive because fans start to think, and that's okay. But fans start to think a little bit different here and there. I think they're sort of focusing on the fan diffusivity, not a real word, too much. And I think they sort of say whoa, I saw a bad Facebook comment about, Last Jedi. We should probably
switch it up.
Throw Rian Johnson into the sun. And it's well, no, let's put him in a place where his creativity could be used because he is a very creative, very, authentic director and is not an Abrams. Abrams is cool. Johnson is cool. They ain't together they are very different types of directors, but both can do something a little bit crazy.
You're also pissing off the fans though, in this sense. And I'm not the hardcore Star Wars fans that are like the Star Wars fans that are out there. But if you're expecting that they're going to wait around for another 10 years for you to get your shit together when it comes to the movies and whatever, if you're going to continue the Skywalker story at some point, which I don't think will happen, or if you're going to introduce new trilogies or whatever it may be, if you think that's going to happen in a climate that is as needy as today is when it comes to social media and media in general, and just needing to be fed all of the time, especially when you are part of this larger family that continues to feed its audiences, that's a problem. And I don't know how they're going to recover with the same leadership.
They honestly will with Disney Plus shows, though. I mean, let's face it, Mandalorian was the only time that every single Star Wars fan got together and got into a circle, joined hands, and started singing La La La, because it was just something that everybody loved. And that's not coming back for a while, so God help us there. But
then again, because that was so successful, and because there's some other stuff that they're going to be doing, and that they're championing on Disney Plus, why are those guys not putting together the ultimate plan for how we're going to go forward? And if that plan is already underway or there, feed the fans in some way. You need to tell them what's coming, because all we're seeing are false starts, and that's not reassuring for a property.
And we're talking about the two guys here, when I think about them, it's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, where these guys should be they should be at least, if not heads of Lucasfilm. I understand that maybe okay, cool, Kennedy wants to have that title next to her name and just make her feel special and give her a lollipop. Fine, put
it's
these
called
guys
a CEO.
Exactly, yeah. But put these two guys in complete creative control. I mean, Favreau's fun to make movies with, and then Filoni is just somebody who adores the entire Star Wars universe, fills in these crater-sized plot holes. This is who we need.
The entire Star Wars universe. And that's so important that you just said that, because it's not just looking at the movies, but Star Wars has such a huge following when it comes to the novels that are out there and the comic books. And you're right. He identifies these holes where it's oh, there's story to be told there, and then knocks it out of the park. So
I'm about to watch a giant orange woman in a headdress for 8 episodes, because Ahsoka Tano was exceptional in in the Clone Wars, and so I can't wait for Rosario Dawson to be this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about, that I'm still excited for this crap. It's great.
Absolutely. All right, I think we've exhausted this topic, but all that to say, get your shit together, Star Wars.
We have talked a lot about this. There's a few on here that I don't know much about, though, so it'll last quicker.
Oh, good. Wonderful. Well, let's transition then to one that I wonder if you ever were a subscriber to. Moviepass? Were you ever a Moviepass holder?
I was a Moviepass holder. And you know what? I wasn't a Moviepass holder for long enough, and I because I didn't jump on for a while because I actually truly didn't believe that that's what it was for. And it was one of those things where, like, my buddy had it forever, and he just said, like, you have to register for this. It, like, you don't understand. You see like 18 movies a month, like you would put them out of business, and I might have, but
you are referenced in this article.
It took a couple of months after that when they went down for bankruptcy. But I'm assuming you're a Moviepass guy.
I definitely was a Moviepass guy to the end, but I remember like having so many issues like everyone else was when they just got into the situation where they were canceling reservations or nothing was available.
No, they had Slender Man. They I remember there was just like literally just Slender Man for like 8 different showings everywhere. I was like, this is terrifying to me right now.
Which to this day I refuse to watch because I disagree with the fact that they made that movie so quickly after the true story. But anyway,
good idea.
Yeah. So let's talk about Moviepass. This, of course, is the theatrical subscription service that everyone abused and probably put out of business. But it did try to come back from the dead multiple times. And then the parent company, I think it was Helios and Mathos was the company. I don't know why I remember that, but I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Went into bankruptcy. So anyway, they are looking to relaunch because the co-founder of Moviepass, Stacy Spikes, recently was granted ownership after placing a bid for the company, and then shared that there is a new team exploring the possibility of a relaunch. They've already made a huge change. The change is I hear a phone.
In my thing, there's no phone.
Where's that phone ringing from?
I think you're just getting ringing in your ears.
Do you hear it, or is it just me?
I truly don't hear it. I'm actually kind of worried for you right now.
Oh, now I can't hear you.
Oh, hello.
Oh, I think what happened was, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, hold please.
Oh,
hold.
Maybe it's me.
Sean, you're muted.
Hello.
There we go. Let me tell you what's happening. I'm using Bluetooth headphones, and I think that they are connected to both my phone and my computer. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I can hear you on the full thing. I want to get just the headphone. Oh, I have to do this. This is like, well, you know what? I'm going to run up and go to the bathroom right after this, considering I'm assuming this is going to get edited.
This is going to get edited.
All right,
go,
cool.
Go. Quick. So if you're watching, bear with us for a few minutes while we figure out what's going on here, because, of course, technical difficulties run amok. But we will be right back with more discussion about Moviepass and other stuff. And I'm going to check to see if there's any breaking news here. Let me see if there's any breaking news. I don't see any breaking news, but hey, here we are. I'm waiting for him to come back, and I don't know if he is coming back. Oh my God, he's coming back. I was singing.
I was wondering what you were singing.
I wasn't really singing anything that I'm familiar with. All right, let's dive back into this. And we were talking about Moviepass, so I don't know where we left off after some technical.
It was the big change that you were talking about. The big change.
Oh yes, let's talk about the big change. Their logo is now black. That's the big change. Yeah. So if you're interested, you can go to the Moviepass website and put your name in there to keep up to date when they relaunch and if they relaunch. But Sean, my question to you is: do you think? Let me rephrase this. Where do you see Moviepass fitting in a environment, a movie-going environment that has changed for multiple reasons? One, the pandemic has altered the frequency that a lot of people go. But two, we have subscription services all across the board now with some of the companies that did have them overseas. For instance, Cineworld, who owns Regal, did have their subscription service overseas prior to it coming over here and prior to the pandemic. But we have Regal Unlimited. You have the AMC stubs. Is it worth it for Moviepass? What do you think?
I only took a basic course in macroeconomics, but this does seem like there's this like X on the board. And I think when it comes down to it with Moviepass, it's like, oh, less people are going to the movies. Now that could hurt Moviepass because no one goes to the movies because of the pandemic, or that could help Moviepass because there's not, a lot of freaks like me that go to 800 movies a month. And so they're thinking hopefully they can hit that little middle ground and, enough people go to the movies that they will buy this, because otherwise it's pointless. Like if you go see one movie a month, like whatever the cost is going to be of this thing, it balances out. If they're doing the same cost per month, which by the way, if they're doing the same cost per month, they're friggin' morons. That's ridiculous. But because what was it, like $10 a month, which like was insane.
Yeah, it was only $9.99. And I should mention that they're going to dive into this a little bit more when it comes to a docuseries that I think is being produced by Mark Wahlberg's company, which I can't wait for. I think that is going to be fascinating.
What were those words?
Can
Mark
I
Wahlberg's
tell you?
Oh, go for it.
What were those words? Can I tell you? I'm looking to remind myself what movies they had supported, and one of them you mentioned at some point, Gotti. You didn't mention that on this pod, but when we were talking, An American Animals was the first one I forgot about.
I remember American Animals because I remember seeing the trailer, and like I remember one of the studios when it was like talking about all the studios that were in the front of the trailer. One of them was Moviepass, and I was like, "What?"
Right. Here's the best part of this. So once Helios and Matheson, that was it, not Mathos, Helios and Matheson acquired Moviepass, they changed the producing arm or production arm to Moviepass Films. They had a movie called A Vigilante, Escape Plan, The Extractors, 10 Minutes Gone. And you know what else they had before it went to Hulu? Boss Level.
Are you telling me?
Probably was their best one.
I watched Boss Level like 8 years after. Like so. Oh man, I was watching Boss Level because I thought it was current. Apparently, it was made by Moviepass.
They also acquired Monsters and Men, Border.
That's pretty good.
Villains and The Reckoning. What was The Reckoning?
I don't remember The Reckoning.
Oh, Villains! I remember Villains. Sorry. Villains was it was like a black comedy or dark comedy with Bill Skarsgård, Kira Sedgwick, Jeffrey Donovan, where like the two have to rob a gas station. They rob a gas station, they take off, they end up in a home, and they end up kidnapping the people, but they kind of like turn the tide on them. It's a good movie. Villains is a solid movie.
I'm always in for a Jeffrey Donovan movie.
All that to say, will you be subscribing to Moviepass?
I have to look. I feel like I'm like a politician right now. I have to look at everything first. But like I do. I mean, I probably will because I see one movie a week, and so this will be a deal. Because I don't think it'll be $40 a month, and if it is, I mean that's something. But like I'm sure it will be less than that. So this feels like something that I probably should do. Now I have to also look at the fact that, how much does it cost a month? And then like I don't want them to black out like movies or, like certain things that like they didn't at all. And that's 100% where their bankruptcy came from, because like they said, go into all of the movies you want. I think it was one a day, but I mean, good Lord. Okay, cool.
They ultimately did though. That was like when people started filing lawsuits and stuff because they were charging people, but they weren't allowing you to actually book anything. But like you said, Slender Man or whatever it was.
Just Slender Man available. Great.
Crazy. All right, let's dive into the next story here. This is about Martin Scorsese's next project at Apple. So he definitely has Killers of the Flower Moon coming up, but Apple has just agreed to his next project, which is going to be about the Grateful Dead. It's an untitled biopic on the Grateful Dead with Jonah Hill stepping up to play Jerry Garcia, which is actually pretty good casting in my opinion. I don't know much about Grateful Dead, to be quite honest. I know that I'm not a Deadhead. But what I do like about this is that the team behind American Crime Story, The People versus O.J. Simpson, are writing the script. Wow. And I think that's a solid team to be writing the script. So kind of interesting that Scorsese is going this route. It says that the band and the group's management are participating in the film. So that always makes me a little bit nervous. That's like, isn't Madonna? We always reference this one. Isn't Madonna like directing a film about her, starring her, or something?
It's that one, and then the other one that bothers me is Bohemian Rhapsody, like where it's just like Freddie Mercury was an idiot, and we were all smart.
Did you see that story though, or the statistic that it made $977 million worldwide, or something along those lines? Was made for $55 million and still lost like $51 million.
Oh, because of all that's wait.
So I didn't dive into it, but
yeah, like I'm trying to get the math here. Like made 997 was made for and still lost. So I had to pay all the Bryan Singer lawsuits. I really dislike that movie. But I mean, like when it comes to this one, like the same thing. I don't really like if you like I don't know the voice of Jerry Garcia even. So I don't even know like if Jonah Hill has like a personality to this. He's got like the chill move there. I mean, honestly, looking at the two of them, you slap a beard on the guy, it looks pretty convincing. I know it's more complicated than that when it comes to the nuances of the performance, but at the very least, aesthetically, this can work. But I mean, the one great thing about this is Scorsese doing a music biopic, which I'm like right now ticker taping through my head right now. And he's done concert film, Scorsese. So he obviously loves music. I do not know if he's done a music biopic. And so this is going to be an interesting road to travel. He's done a biopic before. He did The Aviator, so he knows the biopic formula. But a musical biopic will be really, really interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if he's done one off the top of my head.
So I was about to ask what I don't believe he has, but I was about to ask off top of my head, off top of your head. I am completely combining two comments right now. Number one, off the top of my head, I don't know if he has done one focused on music. Number two, which Jonah Hill are we going to get? Because Jonah Hill has fluctuated in weight quite a lot, significantly. Not like a Christian Bale who does it for roles, but Jonah Hill clearly has a predisposition to, some weight issues and stuff.
It's a situation that worries me. When he's opened up about it, he's been quite bothered. I mean, we're looking at this picture right now, but there is like most of the pictures that people are putting up, which might actually be pretty poor taste on a lot of articles, they're putting a more overweight Jerry Garcia. And so, I mean, I guess they're putting either one in there, but it would be interesting what we're getting. What people will be asking of him, because he'll also do something for a role, and sometimes he'll do it for his own situation. But I mean, I worry about him sometimes when just for mentality wise,
100%.
He does fine, but mentality, he sometimes I think struggles with that, and so it will be interesting. But all in all, I mean, I know that like Jonah Hill, it's interesting when someone put it this way. I think it was Andy Greenwell on The Watch, where it's like, when you ask for a dramatic Jonah Hill performance, you sometimes get straight up nothing. Like, it's something like Moneyball. And I still liked that performance, I won't lie, but it is something that's dialed back. Or you can get like his other really great performances, like in something like, I guess I consider it a comedy, obviously, but Wolf of Wall Street, where he's just like this unbelievable, righteous, insanity. I don't know what this is. I think it's something in the middle, and it's going to be an interesting way of looking at him. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Let's talk about our last story here, last casting to talk about tonight as well. This is one that I'm actually really excited for. This is Leonardo DiCaprio being cast as Jim Jones in a film called Jim Jones. Jim Jones is the cult leader who claimed that he was God and was responsible for the infamous 1978 mass suicide in Jonestown. I remember I was asking my brother, is this the Kool-Aid one when they all drank the Kool-Aid? And that's what it is. I'm excited for this because I think that number one, Leonardo DiCaprio is great in roles like this, in serious roles, and I think can be really captivating as an actor. When you mentioned Wolf of Wall Street, he can captivate an audience there with really anything. My negative is that the Venom writer, Scott Rosenberg, is writing the script for the film. Yeah.
I mean, hey,
So-
people can do different projects, I guess. Holy, oh boy, I'm a little bit more trepidatious about this one. I first of all, I should mention, I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you, but I like really do genuinely like, I'm fascinated by cults. I like love cult. Just because it's one of these things where it's like, you know, it's normal people that do it. They don't look normal when it's happening, but it's normal people like, you know, that start out. And I just always love thinking about that psychology. And it's really like a lot more interesting than people think, because people just think it's a bunch of hypnotized people. It's not that. And so I've like known about this one for a while. And first of all, the movie, before we get to Leo, which is going to be very interesting, and I'm excited about that. But before we get to Leo, the Jim Jones movie is going to be a really tricky one to do, because either they water him down, which I don't think is a great idea, obviously, in this situation, or they show everything, which means like I'll have to use eye bleach after, because it's like it's horrifying. So this is one of those where it's going to be a really tricky like balance that they do in like what to show and what would be far too disturbing. Or, you know, hey, maybe in these situations when we're in a world where like, you know, things get fought for and mob mentalities and stuff, we may need to see like something this disturbing as a worry that it might get led this way. Leonardo DiCaprio's casting was very surprising for me.
Yeah.
I did not think, like, when it comes to someone who would play this character, this guy is like kind of straight up the devil. And it is like, it's very interesting that DiCaprio, like, you know, someone who's like the highest level of movie star, is going for this. He's there already. He's like you said, like Wolf of Wall Street. He has the manic part of him. But then there's the part of like Jim Jones where like everyone's like, you know, like could imagine Jim Jones was like, you know, manic at the altar, like trying to like, you know, pass out the Kool-Aid at the very end. But at that very end, he was like in a chair, like about to die on drugs. Like that dude was like, you know, he was at a different energy completely. Like he was like kind of like like he was mentally like done like for like weeks before the end. And it will be interesting to see. I think if anyone could do it, DiCaprio can do it. I was just so surprised to see such a large star in this role, and he could disappear. And I would almost like to see him disappear, because, you know, granted, he's going to be such a horrible person that it's going to be so difficult to see our good old Leo doing this kind of stuff. But it's really interesting. It caught me off guard when I got the news. I'm ready for it. But wow, I'm excited. I am excited.
I think the director is going to tell us everything about this, and we don't have a director yet. So I think that is going to be the telltale sign of what direction they're going to go with this project. And I'm trying to think of who I would want to see direct it.
It's really tough.
I know. So I don't know. This should be fascinating. Chloe Zhao, why not?
Actually, you know what? Oh wait, I don't want to. No, let's not do that. Why? I don't like this game.
Oh boy.
No, I'm trying to now. No, I'm trying to now imagine it with Chloe Zhao, and I don't like. I'm scared about this movie. I'm so scared about this movie. All right. Oh man.
All right, let's jump into our rants and raves for the weekend. I think that this is a really good time to do it, because it seems like our internet connection is starting to be, wonderful.
We're having a little trouble.
So we're having a tad bit of trouble. But what I would like to first start out with is my rant. Here is my rant. This is going to be short and sweet. We talked about the movie trailer earlier for Spider-Man No Way Home, and how they digitally removed characters from it to try to keep things from us. Sean, you also brought up how we saw trailers for Rogue One. I almost said Rogue Nation. I'm making shit up. For Rogue One that didn't have stuff in the end, ultimately in the end, and that was for a reason. So that's not the type of trailer that I'm getting upset with, just like I'm not totally upset with the first Justice League trailer that we got from Zack Snyder back in the day, because of course things stepped in and or things happened that resulted in other people stepping in and finishing that movie and getting to the abomination that we ultimately did. But what upsets me is when things are in trailers that aren't in the movies, or when things aren't in trailers and are specifically kept out of them or digitally altered from the actual film. That's the part that gets me. So they're clearly working on the effects and everything. If you have Lizard, Electro, and Sandman jumping through, but they made an effort to remove two characters from there potentially to alter what we think about it, or to change how it looks. That frustrates me a little bit, and I can't really put words into why it frustrates me, but it just feels disingenuous that that's not the movie you're ultimately delivering, and you're really trying to mess with people's expectations. You're selling them on something that isn't in the ultimate the ultimate product. So when you're thinking about like a sales commercial or whatever, of course you want to really entice people to see the products, but there are standards and stuff that keeps you from, number one, lying about it, or number two, deceiving. And that's what these trailers are doing, is they're deceiving. If it's cutting footage together, that's one thing. And like being creative with how it's in there. For instance, there's a couple scenes with Doc Ock in the Spider-Man trailer that I think he's not talking to Tom Holland. I think he's talking to probably one of the other Spider-Men, most likely Tobey Maguire or something like that. They're cut together. Those scenes are cut together kind of interestingly. But if you're going to digitally remove people or digitally alter things to throw people off, I think that's a little bit of a shitty territory to get in. And that's my thought.
And I just think, like, just don't show that scene.
Right.
Just
that's
don't
what I
show
thought.
that cut. Like, it's just, the trailer is 5 minutes long. I mean, just don't show that cut. Like, you get like a couple of seconds off of the thing and you're good. But
there's nothing else that you could have put in there.
It's,
I don't know. Crazy.
Okay, so mine is going to be an interesting rant because this I've like kind of flip-flopped on a little bit. And so it's going to be, I'm going to be a little bit interested, but my rant is going to be about directors constantly being asked about Marvel movies, or superhero movies in general, I should say. But Marvel movies are the popular ones, and that's why they are there. It was just recently Jane Campion was asked. And for the interviewer that asked Jane Campion if she'd ever direct a Marvel movie, go fuck yourself. Obviously, Jane Campion is not going to direct a Marvel movie, you friggin' moron. you absolute idiot. So, on one hand, yeah, respectfully, go fuck. Yeah, it might be someone like I really like, but that did it. I don't know. I forgot who did it. But regardless, that's ridiculous. That's truly ridiculous to like be asking all of these like, artistic directors if they would ever want to do it. There's been a few of them recently. And the problem is that it just turns into like this clickbait kind of stuff. It's shallow, and truly it is. And to do it, you're going to get some sort of response that is like a little bit rough. Now, I'm going to keep ranting though. And I'm now going to rant to the directors. So to the directors, this is a genre now. This isn't like a type, like one movie or 5 movies or even like a franchise. This is a genre of movies. And I will say this definitively, you can't say a genre sucks. I'm disallowing it. It is against the law to say that a film genre sucks. And here is why. It's because all types of genres, whether you like them or you don't, have good movies in them. Rom-coms, not the biggest rom-com guy, but there are some amazing rom-com movies that are like straight up masterpieces in there. So you cannot say, so I can never say that rom-coms are terrible because there are rom-coms that are good. You have to say that to the superhero movies. Now, you might argue that a lot of them are the paint by numbers, same thing. A lot of them do kind of follow this same outline, but there's some that break the mold. There's some that are artistic. There's some that aren't. All right. You cannot say that they're all the same. You really can't. I know you can say that some of them are the same, and that's absolutely true. Oh, maybe the majority of them are the same, but you can't really say that. Now, so what I say to the directors, I'm like, look for the challenge, man. Like, I argue, and I'm not just calling out Campion or Villeneuve or, even Scorsese, but, hey, Scorsese, you're about to make a musical biopic. You are doing everything on streaming now with Apple TV Plus. You know what you should do? Try a superhero movie. They're weird.
Yeah, get in there and switch it up.
Yeah, it's something like, they're putting in like weird costumes and they're like going. Kenneth Branagh made a superhero movie, and Kenneth Branagh is like the last person to make a friggin' superhero movie.
Be the change you wish to see in the superhero movies.
I'm telling you, like, and it's one of those things where, like, shout out to Chloe Zhao that like tried this out, where it's like she like once again had Frances McDormand shitting in a bucket, and then right after that, like, did the Eternals, and I think that there's something like really great about that. So, so my two rants are: interviewers, stop asking that stupid question, okay, because it's not getting anybody anywhere. Directors, if you get that question, be a little bit more open-minded. Boom.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think also recognize that there's preferences. So, like, a director may not like those movies, but it doesn't mean they're all shit. It's similar. I was going to bring this up earlier when you were talking about a movie that is getting a lot of attention for being negative attention for being like a slice of life movie. I think Belfast was what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And that's maybe you just don't like slice of life movies. I'm not saying you, but people. Like, there's some slice of life movies are very good, and one I didn't talk about tonight, but I'll put the review up in the next couple of days. The Tender Bar that's coming out. That is very much, I would call that a slice of life movie because it's based on a memoir, and it's, from the perspective of obviously the writer, and you explore his life and some of the stuff that happened. And I remember people saying afterwards, like, there were people that loved it, and then there were other people that were like, there wasn't much there. And it doesn't have this huge, like, oh my God, like third act climax and things go to hell and all that shit. But it was just a really good movie, and that should be okay. So maybe that's not for everyone. Like, you're not going to see Scorsese directing a movie that doesn't have a punch in it. You're not going to see, I'm trying to think of a good example here. You're not going to see like Lord and Miller doing like the next Jennifer Lopez rom-com, right? So I don't know. I think people just need to be a little bit more open-minded and stop being so opinionated.
Yeah, and also don't get mad at these directors, because that's the one thing. It's like, I remember when Scorsese came out with like, saying like, oh, these superhero movies, they aren't cinema. I still think that's a poor statement from Scorsese. I don't think he's correct at all. But there are people that are like, what's Scorsese know? And I'm like, he knows a lot.
Everything. Yeah.
He knows so much more than all of us. So you stop it.
Well, Sean, here's what I know. There are a number of movies coming out this week that I know we both are going to be talking about at some point offline. Whether or not we record a spoiler pod or not remains to be seen. But we have a couple movies such as King Richard that's hitting theaters and HBO Max, Ghostbusters Afterlife hitting theaters, Tick Tick Boom on Netflix, Mothering Sunday in theaters, Black Friday in theaters. That's the dark horse for the best Oscar, best picture, and A House on the Bayou on demand. What?
I just love that you said best Oscar at first. It's like, yeah, that were an Oscar, it would be the best Oscar.
It's the best Oscar. So I'm trying to track that movie down. Expect a lot of content. No, I'm kidding. One other thing to draw reference to in terms of announcements for the website for guidethemovies.com, Hawkeye, the Hawkeye preview has started from Darren's Movie Reviews, and Hawkeye recaps will begin on Wednesday. I'm tired.
I am tired as well. When do you, like, let's do this now. When do you want to meet again? Do you want to meet on Tuesday or?
We're live.
Oh, okay. Oh, you want to do it late? You want to do this later?
You want to discuss our schedule live?
I mean, no, you can talk about it later. I didn't see the red thing in the corner. I literally thought we were done, dude.
Oh man, we are very, very tired. Sean, hey, you know what? See ya. As always, thanks for listening. You can follow both Joe and Sean on Instagram at Guy at the Movies and Math Teacher Movies. New episodes of the Guy at the Movies podcast with Joe and Sean are available every Wednesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, be on the lookout for special spoiler pods, where we dive deep into the latest film releases. If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.